Hello everyone and welcome to the start of 2022 and our first disc golf tournament of the year in Oregon. I'm Scott Withers here with Jeff Korns. This is the 2022 Santiam Open. Jeff, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing good, Scott. I'm ready to get into the first event in 2022, and this is the kickoff of the Oregon Series. So we got some fun action throughout the year, a series of 10 events highlighting some of the best courses and tournaments in the state. And we got a stacked featured card for round one.
Yeah, we got myself, 1036 with big 120 career wins, hoping to add a bunch more this year. We've got Justin Anderson, 1003 rated golfer from Wilsonville, Oregon, originally from Junction City, but has moved up and embraced the Portland lifestyle. Lewis Nava from Beaverton, hovering right around that 1,000 mark. 2013 Beaver State Fling Amateur Champion. And finally, Bryan Peterson is 993 player from Eugene, originally from the Reno area. Only 3 career wins, kind of surprises me. But Bryan is a heck of a control player and someone that is going to showcase a lot of different shots out here at the Santiam Golf Course.
Yeah, absolutely. If you just watch the NUI coverage on CH Sports, you got to see a lot of Bryan and Scott ripping up Whistler's Bend, big open course with a little bit of control in there. We got a lot of open golf holes today, and you'll see everyone ripping some shots, and probably see some rollers too out on these golf fairways. The weather was pretty nice leading up to the event, not too wet. And you're going to lead us off here. What are you throwing here?
Yeah, I'm throwing a Big Z Nuke, and it's something that goes in and out of my bag, but the idea to this hole was the low shot over the last couple years, and the branches are so low that I decided to go Big Annie and kind of airmailed it out to the left, but the only OB is the fence on the left. Ando trying the same shot, and he's going to find the fairway.
Yeah, we got a 575-foot par 4 here. Not too much danger in the fairway. If you get clean off the tee, and by that I mean you go either under or around those trees and find yourself in the grass fairway, you got an up and down. Lewis is going a little bit of the unorthodox route, a little cut roller, and we have a Lewis Nava roller counter. So I wasn't on the card, Scott. What are we going to see here? A couple of rollers from Lewis?
Yeah, well, let's just let it play out. The most unorthodox shot that I ever could think of was that roller. I don't think any of us realized that he was actually doing it. You'll see these first couple holes, the fairway is really wet. It is Oregon. We had a ton of rain and then a bunch of snow and then some more rain. So this course is pretty sloppy. You're going to see it in some places. Not much we can do. Players just kind of have to deal with it. Lewis's drive ended up pretty short. Not great footing where he was, and kind of whiffs it over about 60 short left.
Yeah, Bryan is in a really muddy spot. I've seen that area before flood out on the cart path, but that's some mushy ground there to start off.
Yeah, not bad though, honestly. He's going to have a putt out of it. Justin is lining up about a 230, 240 foot approach and goes a little long, but I ended up over on the left side of the cart path and have the easiest upshot in the world. And because it's the first hole, I figure why not give yourself a 30-foot tester and throw a bad upshot?
Yeah, nothing like warming the putt up early in the round.
No, I'd prefer not to warm it up early in the round, but we're going to have to. Justin, from here, about 35 long. Right off the band, and then I'm stepping up to that 30-footer thinking, gosh, man, TD, I'd barely warmed up if I threw any putts. Why not throw one in the heart to start?
Yeah, that'll do. A lot of these holes you're going to want to get. We've traditionally seen some significantly low scores, I would say, sometimes. But also sometimes the field can get off to a slow start.
Yeah, it's not warm. So if I remember, this morning was probably like mid to upper 30s and foggy, and the air was thick, and just kind of with how wet it is, it was tough to get it all going. I actually didn't even see Bryan throw that putt in person. I had walked off to the side, and I think the big tree overhanging the basket was in my way. I didn't realize that he didn't at least have like a putt out of there.
Lewis knocks in the par. Yeah, that's a tough spot for Bryan. You know, you're 20, 25 feet from the basket, and you'd normally expect to have some kind of look, but that was probably one of the most obstructed golf course putting green shots I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, he wasn't even too mad about it. He just was like, I was against the fence. I thought I'd have something, and got over there and didn't. Bryan keeps such a level head when he's on the course anyways, but that's a par 4 that played at 3.72. You want to get it. I think the footing in the fairway had a lot to do with the players that didn't. It's a fun hole to start the round.
So we move on to hole 2 here. We're seeing a little bit of a change from this hole. Traditionally, we've seen this hole go up the left side to the left of those big trees, but with a debris pile from a recent winter storm, we got a little bit of a change over here. We got cart path down the left side that does not play as out of bounds, but we do have a green and bunker on the right side that'll play as hazard and out of bounds.
Yeah, we're teeing off from the cart path, so we're calling that and left safe. It's the first time we played this hole. I had actually never thrown this shot because we went out to set the course up the day before and didn't throw any shots. But it just kind of, for simplicity's sake, we kept everything inbounds on this except for the green and the bunker. So you're going to see a lot of big hyzers, fairway drivers mostly. I guess you could throw a mid, but it just doesn't really seem like that's the shot.
Yeah, this was actually my starting hole, and like you said, I'd never thrown this hole before. There were some players warming up on the basket up there putting, so I decided, this looks like a routine hyzer. Probably just gonna see how it goes, and I left it at circle's edge, and this is a hole that you're gonna want to birdie. It's a pretty stock hyzer shot, and Bryan going with a little bit of an unorthodox route.
Yeah, I think he would have this one back if he could. You can see the giant pile of sticks that kind of took away the hole that we used to play. I think that was like a second hole, maybe mental error, trying to make it harder than it needs to be. His forehand's nasty, but not that big.
But talking about big and nasty, that putt. Okay, Bryan.
I don't think it hit a chain, but he got a 2, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, and we got no U-disc stats, so all we see is birdie on the scorecard. Nothing but that.
Yeah, that deserves a resistance disc slow-mo replay. That thing gets the full flight and the full hyzer and finds nothing but the bottom of the cage.
Yeah, that's a good putt. You're trusting your circle's edge putt early.
I mean, not intentionally, but it feels good. Like 2 for 2 to start. Let's go. And Ando with the cleanup. Lewis the closest to the basket, but he did find the bunker, so he's got this to save par.
Yeah, these ones are a little bit nervy to start the round. Small tester, especially saving the par, but right in the heart.
Yeah, some brand new putters for Lewis, too. Some classic jawbreaker roaches, I believe.
Yeah, OG jawbreaker is what the Discraft fanatics call it. But, yeah, he made the switch, I think, at the beginning of this year, and he's been really loving them.
Yeah, I'd never seen him use them before. He was an XD guy for a long time and then had messed with some other molds last year as XDs get tough to find. But we move into hole 3. 650-foot par 4. You can see how foggy it was, and I think Collin was actually out the day before doing these flyovers, and you could see just pretty poor conditions visibility-wise. This is a semi-easy par 4 if you can get your drive in a good spot.
Yeah, at 650 feet, all you have to do is go 325, and you should be at the basket, but
and yeah,
players tend to like to bite off a lot off the tee just to have that putter or mid-range approach.
I don't think I've ever birdied this hole, and I just continue to end up on the right side where there's nothing. Justin throws a much better drive that gets out in the middle of the fairway, and now he has the angle to throw forehand in for sure.
Yeah, I watched some of the footage again last year just to kind of refresh myself on this course, and the basket pin position last year lined up really well to have a hyzer around those guardian trees early, but I think it's a little shifted back this year, so you kind of wouldn't mind going outside of that left tree. So Bryan's shot should land in a solid position, maybe a little bit farther back, but I think the angle is going to benefit him over there.
Yeah, this is, stats-wise, plays at 3.51 is the easiest hole we've seen so far on coverage, and I think it's just because there's not a lot of trouble. Lewis, roller count number 2, and honestly a really good one. I don't know if I would ever trust myself to throw a roller through grass that's this wet, but he's taking a cloud breaker and just throwing it on a ton of cut angle and letting it go.
Yeah, if you can get him to hold straight and just drop when they run out of speed, you got a precise long-distance shot out on these golf courses.
Yeah, Bryan, lining up that backdoor hyzer that you were talking about. His ability to throw right-handed, left-handed, it helps big time. That one gets pulled to the right and finds one of the giant evergreen trees out on this property. I was in kind of a soft and soggy spot and decided that I might as well just do what I always do, which is throw it into that tree and not have a putt. What do you think Lewis had there, like 250, 275 left?
I would think almost maybe less.
Okay.
It looks like probably, I would say like 200 to 220.
Yeah, and then Justin from even closer, and those two both get up onto the green. I've got that prayer of a 90-footer to just throw up in the air and see if it can go in, and Bryan is right in his range at about 65 or 70 here. Uh-oh. Justin with the miss from about 30. His putter's a little cold to start. And then Lewis has got it to about 25 and looking to pick up his second birdie of the round. Or no, excuse me, his first birdie of the round because he was in the bunker last hole.
Good birdie there. Someone on this card had to knock it down.
Yeah, pretty sad. But, they're going to be a bunch of pars. These courses, if you want to be in the lead or in contention, you kind of need to be 9 under or better, I would say. You got to get at least half the holes. And that's going to put you on lead card, and it's going to put you in a good position. But real hot rounds at this course, I think, can be in like the 12 or 13 or 14 under range.
Yeah, I think you have the unofficial course record of a 14 under par from a previous year, but we've definitely, like you said, we've seen, hot rounds come in around that 9 to 10 number, but we've also seen those scorching hot ones in the mid-teens.
Yeah, there's some changes to the course for sure. Over the years, we have made this course a little harder. This hole shouldn't be hard. It's 250 feet. The only thing in the way is a pond that you have to clear, basically. I mean, you're only out of bounds if you're in the water. All OB shots go to a drop zone. But it's a little nervy to step up on this one and know that, the basket's 20, 25 feet from the water. It's really easy to throw it safe, but if you want that birdie, you kind of got to flirt with it.
Yeah, you can definitely send that putter into the water if you, run a putt and don't hit metal. So you want to keep this one close, but there's no shame in blasting one a little bit deep and trying to give yourself maybe a long look.
In doing that and having a 30-footer coming back, it's going to get the blood flowing, that putt coming back. Justin and I throw very similar shots with very similar results. He looks like he might have a little tree trouble. And then Bryan lining up an MD3 maybe?
Yeah, that's one of his Color Glow MD3s. I've seen him throw that one quite a bit.
Right through the tree and safe.
Yep. 4 safe shots off the tee. Good start. If Lewis is the farthest away from right here, this is, you're looking at some good opportunities for this card.
Yeah, seeing the camera angle, I'm not sure if he was the farthest away or if he just got up there first and we were like, oh, we're all right next to each other, just go. But realistically, we're all about the same distance. I think I was right at the edge of the circle. No, it didn't go in the water.
If you're going to airball one, you airballed on the right side of the basket.
Yeah, just barely caught the rim on the way by. Bryan's a little better angle and just, you can tell, maybe some bad footing up in there. Hard to putt when the ground is moving under your feet, but Lewis, big putts, all three of us. Those are three pretty bad efforts, honestly.
Yeah, not one to talk about it, but especially when it comes to putting, because I definitely struggle there. But
Yeah, those weren't great.
I trust you guys to clean that up and show us a few better putts in this round.
Yeah, so we're 4 holes in. I'm a couple down. Lewis is a couple down. Justin's at 1. Bryan's at 1. It's like, whatever. Like, we're off. We're moving forward. So we'll see what these next 5 or 6 holes have in store, but we're going to kick it off to some sponsors. Hole 5, 380 feet. This was a change that we had last year. Collin is not flying to where the basket is. He's flying to where it was stored so the golfers could continue playing while we were setting the course up. It's actually in the middle of the golf fairway. You've got a couple gaps you can take. That's the biggest gap, but that's not the shot that you would anticipate someone throwing. So Lewis Nava roller counter number 3. And the other line is a hyzer line that I'm going to attempt to take here. It's a little lower cover and a little tighter shot, but I think it helps with distance control a bit.
Yeah, I like swinging this down the right gap. You got to carry a 370-ish foot line. You get a little ground play, get a skip, you're going to be right in the circle with a putt.
I caught some cabbage, as they would say, coming out. Got some of the limbs. Justin going a little more on the S line shot. And right when he threw it, he was like, I think I could have thrown the hyzer all the way there. And I was like, I think so, because he threw it about 45 long right, but he's definitely going to have a putt.
Yeah, Bryan, not one to shy away from gaps.
Nope, that's his strength. Good shot.
Yeah, out and play, maybe a little low.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. The rest of us are teeing off from the cart path the whole time, which we try to give players as many cart path options as possible for footing's sake. Bryan has chose to tee off from the grass on every hole.
Yeah, that's an interesting decision. I mean, I totally see it on some courses, but with the wet conditions, I would take what I would think is the most reliable footing is the solid one rather than the squishy one.
At least throw a towel down and tee off from the path, like if you're worried about that being slick too, I guess. But
sure.
I mean, it's his strategy. He's going with it. Oh, he thought he made that one.
Wow, Justin is coming back at it, isn't he?
He smashed that drive. That's what I was saying. Immediately, he was like, I should have just thrown the hyzer. Lewis got the putter rolling.
He's cleaning up the par after being off the fairway.
I was really worried about this putt for some reason. It was fine, but after I went birdie and then, didn't have a putt on 3, missed a 30-footer on 4, and then ran that spinner out to 27 or 28 feet, and I'm thinking, oh God, what are we going to do here? We got to throw it in the basket still. That hole played just barely under par, and I think not a lot of birdies on it, honestly. And I think a lot of that is just there's not a ton of trouble to get in, so you're not taking a bunch of bogeys. But 4 pars out of our card with a couple outside looks for birdie. But we are moving into our first, what I would say, forehand hole of the day. I really like the shape of this hole. I don't always throw it well, but I think it's like on the spine. We don't play the cart path as out of bounds, so if you do go to the right, it's not that big of a deal. But it's kind of always played as a trickier, like, forehand hole with the backhand straight shot or turnover option.
Yeah, I prefer the forehand here just because once you get under that branch initially off the tee, there's so much airspace out to the left there. And, really nothing to worry about. But you can also slide one up the path and get about 90 feet of carry on the ground.
I was going to say, it's because neither of our backhands are reliable enough to land dead flat on a path and let it go but 150 feet. So I'm going ESP Nuke here, trying to go as wide left as I can, and I kind of chopped it inside. And I got a pretty fortunate break there to not land on the cart path, and it's going to give me that 30-foot, another 30-foot uphill birdie putt.
Justin with a pretty much ideal line. The flat shot, the hyzer finish, just right into the side hill of the berm, keeping it real nice and close.
Yeah, this is... Bryan throws a good shot here, and if you look at it, it's actually really good. This is what kind of confuses me about his game sometimes. His forehand's so good. I stand there and I'm just thinking, like, why are you trying to make it harder than it needs to be? But then he shows me up and parks it anyway.
I feel the frustration too. I pretty much played that hole identical to you, except for I didn't draw metal on the putt, and I might have been a little closer to the basket.
I mean, I might as well have not drawn metal on that. I hit like the outside 2 chains. So, it just like made 2 great putts to start the round, and then all of a sudden I've got 4 pars in a row. It was a little frustrating at this point in the round. Lewis, good putt, takes advantage of what was an okay drive, but got a good break to slide on the path as far as it did. And then these two earned every bit of their birdies with 2 great drives.
Yeah, and those 2 drives also show that you can play this backhand or forehand with.
Yeah, for sure. Lewis takes the lead on the card with the birdie. All 3 other people get birdies, and I ruined the star frame. Thankfully, there is no donation to charity for star frames on CH Sports, or I'd be paying that out of my own pocket, I think. We move into probably my favorite hole on this course, and maybe on the property, honestly. I really like this hole as a par 4.
Yeah, this one's tough. You have to push more distance off the tee than you expect, because if you don't get past that little bathroom shack from the golf course, you are going to have a really pinched off approach to the basket. So you wouldn't mind sending one long here.
Yeah, or doing this.
Oh, not quite enough steam.
No
worries
not quite.
about the path, but the angle's not going to be there.
Yeah, in the summertime without the wet ground, I think that's fine. But Justin going way more conventional route, and a great shot. That thing's high enough. It looks far enough. It is. He's going to have something. You would still like to maybe even go another, 30 feet?
Yeah, I would say 20 to 30 would have been ideal, but he should have an angle into the green.
Bryan just a little tight and a little high and catches one of the limbs and falls straight down. That's going to be tough. And I figured Bryan's was going to be hard, so I would throw it into the ground right next to him and make sure that I could try something fun on my next one.
Yeah, the shot's there and it's doable. You have to have a very large amount of power to carry that hyzer. It's a good chunk of the way.
I felt like, out of my hand, and take it for what it's worth, because I didn't get to see the result, obviously, it didn't go anywhere. I felt like it had enough power and I was going to get somewhere in that 30 to 50 foot range. Didn't work out. It's working out better than where Bryan and I just did, so I can't really fault Lewis for it, but that was another interesting cut roller play. Ando, that's textbook.
That's a great approach.
Yeah. And from this spot, I think we were 270 or 280 out from the basket. Maybe a little short of that, maybe 250. I flirted with those limbs big time. Bryan just ended up in a miserable spot here for a run-up.
Asking for it to get left. He's going to have a little bit left to finish off the hole.
Yeah, he's definitely got some meat left. Lewis, just whatever. His second ended up in a good enough spot that it's just a clean up. I'll walk up and tap out while Bryan was back still kind of getting his wits about him. Lewis will do the same. Par's fine. This hole played at 4.12, so it did play over par. With really no out of bounds to get in, it's just a tough line to hit off the drive to give yourself a chance to make birdie.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really good par 4 because you have to play with an angle. It's not just bomb it out in a field and then, approach the basket. You do have to throw a quality drive to the right spot to get that opportunity.
Yeah, Bryan does not connect on his putt. Justin does. Shows us how to birdie the hole and how to take over a stroke on the rest of the field. And then Bryan obviously just walk up and do the tap-in thing. So you don't want to bogey, but if you're going to bogey any hole out here, that's not the most frustrating one to take a 5 on.
Yeah, this one is a tough one. So, you walk away with it and just move on to the next one. There's opportunities to come.
Yep. We move into hole 8, which is our first, time to unleash a drive hole to me. The hole 1 and hole 3 are longer par 4, or I would say shorter par 4s that you don't have to really get distance on. Distance off of the tee here on 8 really does help. Cart path and over on the right is out of bounds, and then through the fog you can kind of see where the creek is there, and then that and over is out, and the basket's tucked pretty close to the creek.
There's the basket. Yeah, this one is, like you said, wide open, but you got some OB protecting the outsides of the fairway.
Yeah, Justin puts a little air under it and ends up fine. I mean, he's still going to have a 300-foot or so upshot from there. I've lost count at this point. Maybe Collin's still keeping track. Is that roller number 5 for Lewis? Oh, roller number 6 for Lewis. That's right, we had 2 last hole. I'm actually trying to get some distance on this one, but I was not super comfortable with how I was throwing the disc. That was the first shot that really came off my hand well. And that's a ESP nuke that I throw kind of all over the place.
Yeah, are you trying to bite off some extra distance here to potentially throw a mid-range or something into the green?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm trying to throw it. I want this to be a full distance drive. This is one I feel like the fairway is wide enough. I should be able to hit it. Just don't roll your wrist to the right or something. But I don't want to throw a driver in on this. I want to throw a mid or a putter.
Lewis is obviously not liking his 340-foot backhand today because he is going roller to inside the circle, maybe close to circle's edge.
I'm ready to admit that his roller game is significantly better than mine if he's making that shot work.
Yeah, that... Not my first choice. If I was a caddy, I wouldn't say to throw it, but...
You'd actually tell him not to do it. Yeah. I think
it's working, so I can't complain too much, but...
I think you would try to take the disc out of your player's hand if he were about to line that shot up and you were caddying.
Yeah, I would have hit that white disc.
Yeah. I had 250 in here, going Buzz OS, and yeah, fine. Came in about 15 or 20 short, but not bad.
Lewis said, Jeff, I don't care what you're going to tell me to throw. I am working it right now.
You can't argue with success. I'm stepping up to my putt after, so I'm not even going to lie. It was in my head. I was like, he just went roller, bad roller, bang putt for a birdie.
Yeah, that's even though you guys are close, so there's not too much stress. But on my card too, the first person up to putt on my card, I'll give him a shout out. DJ Harrington canned like a 70, 80 footer, and everyone else was, close to the edge of circle 2, if not in circle 1, and he big putted all of us.
Oh man, I am
And Lewis got you.
full frustration at this point. Like, talking to myself, I'm in my own head. I've just made 6 pars in a row after going birdie to start the round. We made a strategy change after that putt, I can tell you that. Apparently at Santiam Opens, I'm good for one inside 15-foot miss every year, and I got out of the way there, unfortunately.
Hey, early is not bad. Now you just got to make the correction, and you said you're going with the game plan change? Are we going with the Lewis Nava roller on hole 9?
Yeah, I'm going to throw a roller on every single hole from here on out. I've made up my mind. Hole 9, 400 feet. Another really good pro-level hole. This kind of reminds me of like one of the Milo par 3s. That's just like, it's that same distance, kind of that same pro-level shot. You got to hit a gap, even though it's kind of a big gap.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. This is a good one. It doesn't really show on camera. It's slightly uphill. Not significantly, but enough to probably make this play about 420 or so to the basket.
It looks so much better in person, and it's so much harder in person than it does on camera right here.
Yeah. There's definitely, like, those trees can come into play. I'm not sure if any of you guys will bring it into play, but they can if you don't, keep it flexed right at the middle like Bryan just did. That's a fantastic shot.
Nothing comes into play when you take that line. That was perfect.
Yeah, what's your disc choice on this one? You going fairway or distance driver?
I'm going Z Onyx. So whatever you want to call it. Half fairway driver, half distance driver, like the Speed 10.
Yeah, I'll give it fairway, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and okay shot. Like, I got it moving forward. Just, I can't make 15-footers, so I figured I'd go back out to that 35-foot range and see what was up.
I kind of thought Lewis was going to throw that in.
Yeah, me too. Justin almost throws that in, and, the pink putter has been relegated to the offhand putter at this point. We went back to the purple putter that's a little softer, and, it went in.
Oh, I feel like a lot of these off-season, like time frame tournaments from, like, November to February, I'm carrying, like, one of my old putters in my bag.
Yeah.
And there's just days where I'm struggling, and I'm just like, I need old reliable. I got to go back to something I was working with last year that just somehow goes in the basket when these new ones don't.
Yeah, I was cold out, and the pink ones that I was putting with were just normal Discraft putter line ones that are a little harder and stiffer, and then the Pro D one, that purple one, kind of the older blend of them, is softer, and it definitely felt better on this day. Should have started with it and didn't, but we are through 9 holes of the 2022 Santiam Open. This is a 2-round, 1-day tournament, B tier. So I'm 3 under, Bryan's 3 under, Justin and Lewis both at 4. Fine starts. I think we'd all like to be 1 or 2 shots better, but yeah, that's where we're at.
Yeah, you can't really complain too much. Just 1 bogey on the front 9 from the card, but keeping it pretty clean. Off to a fine start, but we'll see how you guys carry that on to the back 9.
Hey guys, Collin here with CH Sports. I just wanted to give a huge shout out to my coverage sponsors. These videos would not be able to come to life without these people's help, so I really appreciate it. There's plans starting as low as $3 a month, and every single dollar helps grow the channel. If you would like to see your name or business listed in the credits of every single one of my videos, please head over to patreon.com/chsports.